Yep. All right. Is there anything to panic about with Kansas at this point? The headline of this podcast is Kansas panic. Kansas has now lost 3 out of 5. They got beat at home in the fog by a West Virginia team that had a flight delayed for 8 hours because it blew their charter blew a tire landing in Morgantown. They didn't arrive in Lawrence until 2 a.m. on New Year's Eve for a game that tipped off at noon local time. They were down Tucker DeVries and Amani Hansberry, 2 of their top 3 scorers, and they were up 38-20 with 18 minutes left in that game and held on to win, thanks in very large part to Javon Small, who's been one of the most underrated transfers in college basketball this year. Fanta, I'm worried, man. This is a team that doesn't shoot the ball well. They don't space the floor well enough. They don't the pieces that they added don't seem to necessarily fit. They don't get to the free throw line. I don't think that this is a roster that is constructed. I love all the individual pieces. Tio, we talk about pieces fitting. I don't think that they fit all that well on this team and on this roster. I don't know how it works in a league as good as a Big 12 Fanta. I have a hard time seeing them find a way to turn this around to the point where they are a contender with the likes of Iowa State and Houston in that conference.
This team came into the year as preseason number 1 and as a team that we thought would have a season of redemption. It's been more of the same, if not worse. Kansas is not a national championship caliber team. They're not a Final Four caliber team. They're not an Elite 8 caliber team. Could they win a tournament game or 2? Sure. But relative to the expectations entering the year, this team has been a big disappointment. They really have been. If Bill Self could do it over, I don't think he would have taken Hunter Dickinson. Hunter is a talented player. But defensively, there's not a lot there. Defensively, this Kansas team is not gritty. They're not gutsy. They're not tough. They're not in you. They don't make you do different things. They don't alter your strategy with how they defend. Offensively, they have some talent, but they can't shoot the basketball. And Bill Self's system is predicated, like a lot of systems in the country, on shot making, on making threes, on getting open looks and making them. You went 4 for 16 against West Virginia. 4 for 16. You got to the free throw line 21 times to their 6. They're down 2 starters, and you lost that game? You lost that game?
First time West Virginia's ever won at Fog Island Fieldhouse, I believe, correct?
Yes, that's a really tough loss. Here's the other thing. They don't have a bench. Their bench is not good enough. Flory Badunga, yeah, he had 8 and 11 in this game. He helped them. 17 minutes. Other than that, there's nothing there.
No, see, I disagree there. I like Flory.
No, I do too. They don't have anybody after him.
Yeah, okay. I understood. I misunderstood your point there.
They got 6 guys.
Yeah.
And KJ Adams seems broken. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but he only made 1 shot in this game. You know, I can't figure him out from game to game. It seems like when he's gone up against high majors, like 4 points against Creighton, 6 points against NC State. Look at him, guys. He was averaging 13, 14 points per game last year. He was in double figures the year before. What's going on with KJ Adams?
I don't think you want him to be a scorer. Like, my bigger issue, and I'm curious both of you guys' opinion on this, right? Like, I just don't think that they made the right additions in the portal this year. You know, I understand what you're saying about Hunter Fanta, and like, I don't totally disagree. I would tend to lean towards like the production kind of outweighs some of the concerns that you have otherwise, but like AJ Store's the wrong fit for this. Like, he just they're paying him. Yeah, I think they're paying him 2 commas, man.
But here's the other thing. The one other problem, and this is my last thought, is if you are right now a team defensively can say, DeJuan Harris, go ahead and shoot the ball.
Yes.
It's to say, but here's the problem. They can do the same thing with Hunter if he gets it on the perimeter. They can do the same thing with KJ.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is who's going to be that guy that lights that spark. Like, Zeke Mayo was 2 for 7 yesterday. Got to the free throw line, sure, but like shot making's contagious, and 4 for 16. Like as far as analytics go and all that stuff, it's really not enough. It's a tough one. It's a tough.
It's not just the percentages either, guys. Like it's the threat to make the shot. Like I've said this over and over on the show. It's not so much the threes that you make. It is the threat of the three that creates the space. That is the real difference maker when it comes to running offense in college basketball, right? And the problem is your point guard, DeJuan Harris, is a guy that you don't necessarily have to guard on the perimeter, right? Like if he's shooting threes, you live with that. Same thing with KJ Adams. If he's taking jumpers, you'll live with that. Okay. That you let that beat you. If Hunter Dickinson is a guy shooting a three, you live with that because he's one of the best players in the country at sealing and creating angles and scoring in and around the paint. AJ Storr is not a shooter. Like he's a slasher and a scorer, but he's not a shooter and he's the wrong fit. He's like a bad shot taker. He's the wrong fit for what Kansas wants. And you put all of that together, there's no one that scares you from three on this team. Not when Rylan Griffin isn't shooting all that well. Like, do you want David Coit, who like was a really good player at Northern Illinois and in an ideal world would be awesome for like 12 minutes off the bench for this Kansas team? He's a starter, right? Like he's playing starters minutes. He's the most dangerous. They got him in the floor on the court in crunch time. Like that's not what you want.
I don't think he's Kansas.
And then look how much he's playing because AJ Storr ain't it. Bill Self can't get him going. Rylan Griffin isn't shooting the ball all that well. They can't get him going. You need somebody out there with Zeke Mayo and with DeJuan Harris. Like it just, I don't know, man. I'm very, very concerned about where this Kansas team goes, like big picture. They're going to win enough games. They're going to dance. They're going to be like a top 5 seed because Bill Self's really good at what he does, and they're still talent. But I think that they are like if they get to the second weekend, I think it's a good season for them. Am I going too far on that, T.O.?
It's a great if they get there. I think that's where this team needs to be, which is nuts considering before the season we were like number 1 or number 2, number 1 or number 2. But can we get to West Virginia and the job DeVries has done there? Holy smokes! I didn't see this coming, guys. I really didn't. I like the pieces. I like the roster. I thought, well, they'll finish bottom half, but closer to the midpoint of the Big 12. They'll be fine. They'll compete. They're tough. Dude, they're 10-2. And a win at Kansas. I mean, like it feels weird to like bash Kansas and then say it's a good win to win at Kansas, but you get what we're saying. You get what we're saying. Like they've done a really nice job there. Really nice. Javon Small, you ain't kidding. He has been a difference maker in the biggest sort of order. Like fun team to watch. I was shocked at how good they were whenever we watched them at Battle for Atlantis. I was like, oh man, they're cooking with something. And they're pretty balanced. It's a really good team, man. Really good team. DeVries has done a great job in year 1. Burn all the couches in Morgantown. Like it's a fun team to watch. And you know, I'm not going to say appointment television. We're not quite there, but like still really good.
Yeah. It's go ahead, Fanta.
They should be ranked on Monday. No question about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're 10-2. This is a great story. And by the way, it feels like it's been a little bit. I am excited to see Morgantown back as an atmosphere in this sport.
Yes.
As the season goes along. That place is a gem when they're good. And it is really, really loud. Like it's people forget this. That's been such a great atmosphere that College Game Day of ESPN, which doesn't diversify a ton, has gone there when they've been good. Like they go there often because of how good it is. West Virginia it's a proud brand, terrific tradition. You know, they just get Rich Rod back on the football side. There's good vibes over there right now in Morgantown. What stands out to me about DeVries? You know what it is, guys? And like this is the Ben McCullum theory now, you know, going forward. That if you're an AD and you're looking to hire, that if you find the guy who's won at the mid-major level, plays the right way, plays with depth, plays with balance, don't get stupid on it. It's staring you in the face. And it does translate. Why? Because it's freaking basketball. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's playing the right way. It's valuing your players. It's developing culture. And it's defending. You know, in this game, West Virginia had to get stops. You hold Kansas to 61 inside their building, in which a third of their points came from the free throw line. Think about that. Like, they only scored 40 points from the field. I mean, that's kind of amazing. And I'm in agreement with you, T.O. You know, what's a true testament to whether or not you have balance? When you're down 2 starters, how do you play?
Yeah.
Javon Small, Rob, has been phenomenal. I mean, I like the kid a lot before. I just think he's been a great fit for this team.
He's in the All-American conversation. Like, he's legitimately in that conversation right now with what he did against Gonzaga in that win. What
Kim
he did
Palmer has
against
him
Arizona in
8th.
that win.
Kim Palmer has him the 8th best player in the country.
Yeah.
That.
By the way, I thought Eduardo Andre played a big role in this game
Mhm.
in the win over Kansas. 15-6, 3 assists as well. They got some 3-point shot making from Jonathan Powell, you know, who's given them some sparks here, and it's been in double figures 3 of his last 4 games. But love it. I mean, Derek DeVries, honestly, it's a sleeper here, depending on how the rest of the season goes, but he's on National Coach of the Year radar.
Yeah.
How about the fact that Kansas tried like 21 free throws to 6? They tried. And if that game's on a neutral floor, and I'm not even freaking kidding about this. I'm so freaking serious. Freaking new year, new me, not cussing. So freaking serious. You have to beat Kansas by 15 points in order to beat them by 1 point. Neutral site, West Virginia wins by 15.